Week in and week out, we look at the waiver wire at the running back position, and there's nothing there but backup running backs, and you're just waiting for somebody to get their opportunity. You don't want to watch people get injured, but we're not getting that at the running back position for fantasy football. So every time when we pluck a running back off the waiver wire, we're just hoping something happens to where they get more touches. They usurp the starter starts sucking, maybe an injury. We're not getting many injuries at the running back position. Week 12, we have some extra bye weeks. That's impacting a lot of fantasy managers to the point they don't really have anybody to start. And now we're rolling into week 12. And the fantasy football gods will say, hey, exercise a little bit of gratitude with this one, because Alexander Mattison and Zeus are doubtful going into this week. And we got to look at Ameer Abdullah and Laube in a bad matchup. However, some of you guys have to make this play because you got nowhere else to go. You got nowhere else to go. So today we're going to do a deep dive on both of them. Mostly Ameer Abdullah. We'll do another deep dive on Laube because there's a lot to talk about with him, and he's a stash play as well. For the rest of the season, maybe. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're doing these deep dives every day. Whenever a player starts trending up, an injury happens, a guy gets traded, we do a deep dive. We do that so you can get a deeper look at the advanced analytics of the player. On top of that, we go deep on the waiver wire. Tomorrow, we're going to do our must-start video, going over the starts and sits in every matchup. There in that video, drop your start-sit questions. Click that subscribe button now. There's a lot that's going on here that's going to help you. Plus, Ric Flair's cool. He's watching you. You do not want to disappoint Ric Flair. But they're doubtful. Alexander Mattison and Zamir White, they're listed as doubtful going into week 12. More than likely, they're not going to play. There's a 25% chance both these running backs are out. And if one's in, Ameer Abdullah is getting more work, and the workload's going to be very interesting with those injured running backs going into the week anyways. So we're just going to be looking at Ameer Abdullah. We're going to look at a little bit of Laube, and Laube will get his own video because he's a rookie. There's a lot of good things in his prospect profile. We'll touch the surface of that in this video, but he deserves his own video. That will come out later tonight, tomorrow, somewhere around that time. But you will get a good overview on him as well. Ameer Abdullah got some work last week. He got some opportunities with them injured, banged up. He's been getting a little bit of work off and on throughout the season. He's Ameer Abdullah. He's kind of like that mainstay running back that has always been kicking around. He's been in the NFL for 9 seasons. The big story about Ameer Abdullah was during his rookie season 9 years ago, in the preseason, he has this amazing Barry Sanders-esque run. Everybody in Dynasty Fantasy Football starts trading for him off the rip, starts paying up for him. Next thing you know, things get very quiet. That is what Ameer Abdullah is known most for, is a crazy run in preseason 9 years ago. You look at the production, he's not a lead back, so you're going to not expect him to be a lead back with that type of production. He can pop off randomly on any given Sunday. He's done that 3 times in the last 3 seasons. That's something to pay attention to, but he's not a running back that will go off. He's a running back that is good in the passing game, good at all phases, has good lateral quickness. That can surprise you here and there. That could definitely do that in the right opportunity. He's got decent size, just athleticism, good burst. 5'9", 205-ish. That's old. But he's stout enough. You see that on the field. You definitely see the wiggle still on the field. He still has that. You're looking at the backfield here. Alexander Mattison, 97 rush attempts, 3.3 yards per carry. Zamir White, 2.8 yards per carry. We probably should just be exploring this anyways. Laube, even though this is a rough matchup, we'll get into that here soon. I mean, you're looking at that. There's some opportunity here. That's why he needs to be stashed. Maybe you picked up Ameer Adbdullah, but you might have to stash Laube too, because they might be making some changes. They might need to be doing that. Maybe they need to see something through here. Maybe they need to check something out, because we are racking up some L's. Laube, good size and just athleticism from New Hampshire, a late round pick. But prospect profile wise, coming out of New Hampshire, caught more balls than Marvin Harrison Jr. He's a receiving back with a little bit of size. 5'10", 206. For a satellite back, that's good size. A good agility score. Size of just athleticism is okay. Good enough to get the job done. Looked good during the pre-draft process. Looked a part of a good Moneyball prospect. If you want to look at the fat kid from Moneyball. This problem with Dylan Laube, he's from New Hampshire. Everything else, catching the ball in the backfield, looking explosive. Looks like a good jigsaw option for your fantasy team. Dylan Laube could be your dude. But this team is racking up the L's. They keep losing. They're going to lose again to the Broncos. Bo Nix is going to get it done unless he catches those rookie blues. You got the Chiefs after that. Back-to-back bad matchups. Ameer Abdullah and Dylan Laube, they're not really starts. They're not really starts. And the term of starts, like guys are throwing out there. But I've seen the comment section in some of these videos. Here and some of the other platforms I'm at. Some of you guys are really hurting right now at the running back position and because of the bye weeks. Because there's nobody really to pick up to play with off the waiver wire. You're picking up backup running backs getting touches. And you got to hammer out a tough matchup here with these two running backs against a tough defense. Honestly, he's pushing league average when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs. However, they can stifle you. They do not break and they barely bend. In a lot of these matchups, we talk about these defenses as bend but not break. They barely bend and they rarely ever break. They broke once to Derrick Henry. And I think everybody has broken to Derrick Henry. They bent, honestly, once in week 5, ironically, to Ameer Abdullah. 11.1 PPR fantasy points. Honestly, that is an amazing thing to see there in the stat sheet. And this is a matchup where they might revert back to slowing down the game by using the running backs heavy. 15 carries for Alexander Mattison, but also using them in the passing game. That might lend well for Dylan Laube. He might see 3 to 5 targets in this game as they're trying to be creative getting him the ball in space. Just getting the ball to somebody in space as this Broncos defense locks things down here. Ameer Abdullah could be cashing in 10 plus carries in this game and some opportunities and some targets in the passing game. We could see Dylan Laube getting probably a good chunk of carries and some targets. A good mix between the two. Ameer Abdullah, they're going to lean on a little bit more. I don't know what that's going to look like. He rushed for a good clip, though, against the Broncos. They remember that. And they had Ameer Abdullah on this team for a while, and they've kept him around for a reason. He's a dependable backup running back, and every time it's been him and Zamir White over these last few years, last year mainly, he got some work alongside him. Work in the passing game, a little bit work up the gut. It may not be good, it may not be pretty, but he could volume himself into 10 PPR fantasy points. And that may not be the sexiest thing, but you got to take something to the prom, and Ameer Abdullah could be it. If you got to take something that's a little bit cross-eyed to the prom, that might allow you to bring something home, Dylan Laube might be it. That's what we're seeing from this matchup. It's an ugly matchup, but you got to do what you got to do, and that's what you got to do. You don't need him because you're good at running. If I'm good at running back, I'm not pursuing this. I might stash Dylan Laube, but if I'm good at running back, I'm good at running back. And I'm just tossing out my good running backs into my starting lineup. I'm not even thinking about this. However, a lot of you guys are hurting. And you got to say, let's ride. A lot of you guys are hurting. A lot of you guys need some options for this week. We have extra bye weeks. We got to contend with that. You need something. There's touches right here. I think Ameer Abdullah will get double-digit touches. And I think Dylan Laube will get some work for some experience because they got to see what's up with him. Because they know there's nothing up with these other running backs. They got to make some moves next year. I predict them drafting a running back in next year's draft. Next year's draft is going to be deep at the running back position. There's some good upside there. There's some good players. I predict them exploring the running back position in the NFL draft. Some way, shape, or form. Doesn't mean they're going to pay up on a day 2 pick. It could be high-end day 3 or something like that. But I look for them to bring in another running back next year, maybe even 2, maybe even a veteran in free agency and a draft pick. But the 2025 NFL Draft is looking good from the top to the bottom at the running back position with some dudes. And the Raiders, from what we're seeing here with this depth chart, they're going to explore that one way, shape, or form, or at least they better be, unless they're going to pull Dallas Cowboys. That is also in the realm of possibilities. Heavily unlikely after watching that train wreck. But when we look at these two running backs, we're at least seeing some volume. You may have to gamble on that, and you got to do what you got to do. Not really a call, but pointing that out. Some stuff you already know, but you're looking into this. You kind of got a better feel of what you're looking at and what decisions you need to make. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One, thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.